watched the video that I uploaded last January. I watched it and I was just shocked. I was like, holy moly, like, how much has changed in a year. It's crazy. I do want to say that I'm sorry that I have basically disappeared from social media, TikTok and YouTube. This is gonna be like a longer video. I'm gonna talk about where I've been, what I've been doing, what's been going on. I'm going to talk about the beginning 2 years ago when I first started uploading on TikTok and YouTube, and why I did that and why I eventually kind of just stopped. And then I'm gonna get into the past year and what's been going on with that, which has been a bit of a nightmare, to say the least. Welcome to Fighting Back. When I first started this journey of uploading content and sharing my story, I didn't know what kind of feedback I was gonna get. I was expecting maybe over a few months to, maybe 6 months up to a year, I would have maybe anywhere from 100 to 500 people following me on TikTok, and then maybe have like 100 subscribers on YouTube, something like that. I didn't expect it to take off as quickly as it did. The first month, or maybe it was 2 months, it was just crazy. Like, the amount of followers and subscribers I was getting in such a short amount of time. I didn't think that really happened. I thought, like, with TikTok and YouTube, I thought, you do that over many years and you build it takes time. Well, I wasn't prepared for how intense it was right away. It was cool to have that many people follow my health journey, and to watch those first 3 videos and to relate in a lot of ways. I was going through really intense withdrawal from Effexor because I was coming off of it so quickly, and my psychiatrist at the time said, let's use the Klonopin to get you off of the Effexor. It's now 2 years later and I am still on Klonopin. I stopped tapering Effexor at 37.5 milligrams and I haven't touched it since April of 2024. So going on 2 years almost. Like I said, I wasn't prepared for how intense it was in such a short amount of time. And 95 to 99% of it was positive, and then you have people who are cruel, very cruel, especially on TikTok, who leave very hateful comments, hateful messages. And when you're going through something like severe acute withdrawal from Effexor, that's the last thing that you want to read is people telling you should go off yourself and stuff. So a lot of that got to me quickly. I think a lot of that got to me quickly because I was in such a fragile state of mind. And it took time to realize, because I never uploaded videos like that before, and it took some time to realize, okay, this is just how it is. No matter what kind of content you put up, there's gonna be people leaving hateful comments. That's just the way it is. It's the way the world is, unfortunately. But like I said, 95% or more was positive, and it was very kind, and it was people reaching out, and at its peak, it was like I was getting anywhere from 20 to 30 to 40 messages a day of people reaching out, either asking for help or they were just looking for someone to talk to. Just be like, hey, like, I saw your videos. I'm kind of going through the same thing. I just want someone to talk to. And I did my very best to reply to everyone. It was, like I said, kind of overwhelming at first, but I did try my best to reply to every single message. And to remind people that I'm not a doctor. I'm just someone going through something that sucks. I would say how intense that became in the beginning, or how intense that was in the beginning, was part of the reason why I sort of took a step back. Like, I wanted to obviously gain some sort of following, but like I said, when you're in that fragile state of mind, it can be a lot at once, a whole lot. But that's not the main reason I stepped away from social media for a while. I know I've been uploading every 3 to 6 months, but that's not even close to what I was doing in the beginning. Beginning, it was every day. There was videos every day. In the summer of 2024, I started to feel better. I hadn't touched the Effexor for a couple months, and the Klonopin was there, and I was like, all right, I don't want to be on this. So I started to taper, and I got down to a very small dose, and it was very easy. I was surprised how easy it was. I got down to 0.125, which is like a quarter of a pill, basically. I started to feel so good that I was like, I need to get back to work. Like, I haven't worked in so long. So I started working a ton. And I had this frame of mind where I was like, I gotta work. It's been so long. I need to make money. Like, I have a family to support. I can't just wait anymore. And it was good for a while. I was getting back into work, and I was keeping busy, and I ended up getting a small house, and everything seemed like it was coming together. And I was like, well, I'm feeling a little stressed from work, so maybe I should slightly increase the Klonopin. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. So I did that with the Klonopin, and I was like, it was so easy to go down on it over the summer. I was like, I'll have no problem going back down when I need to. So then March came of 2025, about a year ago. And that was when I started to notice symptoms. And it wasn't normal, like, burnout from work symptoms. It wasn't normal Effexor withdrawal type symptoms. It was very specific symptoms that kind of hard to explain, but it was affecting my nervous system terribly. And at first I was like, okay, well, maybe I do need to just like chill with the work for a little while, cut back my hours. The symptoms just kept getting worse, no matter what I was doing to try to like calm myself down. It just wouldn't stop. It just kept escalating. And by the time April rolled around, it was really brutal. I was getting panic attacks constantly. Felt like I couldn't breathe almost every single second of every day. Dizziness, vertigo. I was getting itching and rashes all over my body. I was exhausted. I spent a couple months really trying to take care of my body, because I was convinced that it was just maybe something to do with burning myself out from work, or the effects of withdrawal creeping back up, something like that. And then May hit, and I was like, I need to rethink this whole thing with medicine. Maybe I just need medicine. Maybe everything I've done up to this point has been a mistake. And that was the stupidest thing I could have done. It was the worst thing I could have thought at the time. Hindsight's 2020, I guess, but my God, that was one of the biggest mistakes of my life, probably. I got in touch with my psychiatrist in early May, told him what was going on, and he decided, whatever we decided, I was going to try Abilify on top of what I was already taking, which was the 37.5 of Effexor. And at this point, I was taking different doses of Klonopin every day, depending on how bad my symptoms were. And the Klonopin was barely doing anything. I was just suffering. So I took one dose of Abilify, just one. And I had a severe reaction that put me in the ER the following morning. It was, can't even put it into words, really. It was just horrifying. I don't know if it was just brutal akathisia or some sort of psychosis that it put me in. But over the next 2 weeks following that, I had probably 50 panic attacks. I was in and out of the hospital constantly. It really, really, really messed me up, that one dose of Abilify. In early June, I went up to see my doctor, who has been helping me a lot with just everything going on with my health. And I spoke with her, and I don't know why I said this, but I mentioned mold. And I said, could a lot of this be, or what I'm feeling be, because I moved into a new house, and it's an older house. It's very old construction, and I said, could this be mold affecting me this way? And she said, absolutely. She said, let's definitely check and do a mycotoxin test. And when I got the results back in mid-June, it wasn't really shocking or surprising. It was sort of like, okay, this is what's been going on. My mycotoxin test was horrible, off the charts, and I couldn't even go back to my house to empty it out. Luckily, I was due for a lease, and so I obviously didn't sign a new lease. I couldn't even go back. Couldn't even go back to throw away almost all my stuff. My family and friends had to help me out in that regard. Losing my house was difficult, especially because I felt like my family and we felt it just felt like home, So that was really, really hard after really trying to find our own place, and we did. And then 6 months later, having to leave it, it was really, really hard on everybody, not just me. I spent all summer terribly sick from mold and detoxing the mold. And I had developed really bad MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome. And the mast cell stuff, I couldn't take binders. I couldn't take any medications. Everything that I ate was causing a flare-up in my body. Any supplement I took, chemicals, the environment, it was horrible. I did have hospital visits. I had panic attacks. I had severe symptoms. It was terrible all throughout the summer. September, I gained some progress. October was a nightmare again. I had POTS. Every time I would stand up, heart rate would go to 130. October was a nightmare too. I don't know what exactly happened. I have a few different theories, but October was a complete nightmare as far as health goes and symptoms go. And then November, I had slight improvement, but my family and I had booked a trip to Florida last year. So I had to go out of my comfort zone. Traveling for most people was not stressful, but for me, it's stressful. For anyone who has a very fragile nervous system, it can be stressful. It can be really hard on your nervous system to travel. And I ended up needing to take more Klonopin. Now, with the Klonopin, I didn't even mention that in June or July, I was like, all right, I need to make sure that I'm not taking too much of this. I'm going to start to try to taper. And my taper from Klonopin has been going on since last summer. I was up around 1 milligram, maybe a little more, when I was at my worst last spring and summer. Since then, I've tapered, and I've tapered, and I've tapered, and it's gone I've gone very slow with that taper. The Klonopin, I guess, has been another issue because it's like, it was so easy to go down on it a couple summers ago. And because of the mold and everything that happened with that, for some reason, it's been extremely difficult to go down on now. With the mast cell issues and the histamine intolerance, and I wrote some of this down because it's just so much. Thyroid fluctuations have been going on. I've had issues with my TMJ joint here. Connects your jaw and your skull. The list goes on. I've had so many issues. I'm trying not to go into too much detail, but I've been tapering Klonopin since June or July, and I've gone so slow, and it's still been really hard. Right now, I'm taking 0.45 milligrams, and this is day 9 at that dose. I'm gonna try to hit 14 days at that dose and then go down about 2 or 3%. So it's gonna take a long time. My nervous system is fried, very, very fragile. I have to be so careful. I can only eat maybe like 4 or 5 different things. I've lost maybe 47 pounds the past couple of years. It's not that I don't eat a lot, it's that I only have certain foods I can eat, and it's basically just like chicken, rice, vegetables, eggs, and a certain brand like of gluten-free toast I can have. But that's basically it, and some fruit. I mean, that's my entire diet because of the mast cell problems. It's been frustrating, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's just the way it is. So yeah, I'm at day 9.45 milligrams of Klonopin. I did make it down to Florida in November with my family. I had to take extra Klonopin because of how bad my symptoms were and how intense, especially the POTS. If you don't know what POTS is, it's post-orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It's essentially when you stand, your heart shoots up really high. And I was getting pretty high heart rates when I would stand up and walk around. Being in Florida was a nice change of pace. Once I got down there, it was okay. Wasn't great, but it was nice to just be around my family and try to forget about all the BS that's been going on here with my health and just everything. I want to get into the other reason why I stopped uploading on social media. The Klonopin completely took away any sort of like motivation, any sort of confidence, any sort of drive that I once had. I just feel very, I just have no emotion. You know, I was telling my mom, I was like, if someone said, hey, you hit like 1 million subscribers on YouTube, I would be like, okay, cool. And then I would like go back to watching TV. That was a couple months ago, but I'm just saying, like, that's how much these drugs can affect your brain. They just make you not care. And at the same time, they make you suffer. I hit tolerance withdrawal. I absolutely think that's what it is. With the benzo, with the Klonopin, and it's essentially, the drug isn't doing anything. It's making you sick. You're having withdrawal while being on it, but you still have to come off of it slowly. And that is a really, really hard thing to accept. The best thing you can do for that is to take care of your body in every way you can. Make it as strong as you can, whether that's eating really healthy, not necessarily exercising. If you can't exercise, it is what it is, but maybe going for short walks. Sleep, obviously, but sleep for me has been horrible. I didn't sleep at all last night, not even like 1 minute. 2 nights ago, I did sleep. 3 nights ago, I didn't sleep. Very up and down, but I've had horrible insomnia when it comes to the Klonopin taper. But of course, all these other things could be playing a part. The mast cell issues, the mold, histamine problems, thyroid fluctuations, Lyme disease. All of these things could very well be playing a part in how I feel. I try not to say, oh, like this is causing this or this is causing that. I try to just put it into like one big thing, one big illness that I'm dealing with. How can I treat this one problem that I'm dealing with? It's to be patient, to do what I can every day for my body, which is the days I feel like I can walk, go for short walks. Try not to get too caught up in what I can eat, what I can't eat, and to try to find purpose every day, which has been the most difficult thing for me. Having a good support system might be the number one thing when it comes to tapering off of a benzo. It might be like the most important thing. You need someone who not necessarily understands how you feel, but has done their own research on it and understands what's going on and can help you out when you need it. One last thing I do want to mention is that akathisia is it's a nightmare. Now, I don't have it all day every day. I get it really bad at night when I'm trying to sleep. This TMJ issue that I have, it's like a jaw, it's not even pain, it's like tension. It's almost like a form of akathisia. But not only that, I do the pacing, and I do really weird body movements. Akathisia is, by itself, is a nightmare. It is. Like I said, I don't have it all day, and I'm lucky that I don't have it all day, because some people do, and that's a nightmare. That is a nightmare. I've had it for years, and different levels of intensity. But nighttime is definitely the worst, when it gets really bad, when I'm trying to sleep. But yeah, that's the main reason I stopped uploading, was because I just didn't care about like anything anymore. And I know it was the Klonopin. I know that it just takes away everything that makes you. I don't even know how else to describe it. It just destroys like your personality and motivation and confidence, and I don't know, just makes you a zombie. Because there's been times over the past year where I'm like, all right, I want to upload, I want to make a video, I want to post an update, and then I just don't do it. But I'm doing it now, so gotta start somewhere. I guess. There's a lot of things I didn't talk about in this video, but I don't need to go into every little detail. But just know that I'm gonna start uploading. I'm gonna try to upload every day now on how I'm doing with the benzo taper, how I'm doing with the mold, where I'm at with all that stuff. I do apologize for essentially just disappearing. To people who were really, engaged in following my story, I do apologize. It was not intentional in any way. Like I said in the beginning, it was a little overwhelming. I got over that. I wanted to keep uploading, but the Klonopin and the mold and mast cell issues and hospital visits, I just lost any sort of motivation to do it. And losing my house, it sucked. It did. It's time to put all that aside and get back into uploading videos and talking to people and counting my blessings, because there are a lot of blessings in my life, and one of them is right here. Igor, come here. Jesus. This is Igor. He's really, really big now. I don't know if you remember him. Got him a couple of years ago. He is about 78 pounds, and he's gonna be 2 years old on February 25th. He's a good dog. He's been a big part of my recovery, as well as my, geez, bud, as well as my my parents and my kids and Jordan and my sister Amy, and there's a lot of people who have been there for me. I can't thank them enough. I feel bad. Like, this has affected them too in a lot of ways. But yeah, Igor's helped me a lot, right, bud? But yeah, last thing I do want to mention is that I've said it before, I'm really into gaming. I'm gonna start going live on YouTube, like at least a couple times a week. I'm just gonna play like horror games and stuff. If you want to tune in for that, try to not necessarily like get away from my symptoms, but it's just a fun thing to do. Keeps my mind busy. I don't really have a lot going on right now, so I think it'll just be a fun thing to do. And we can talk about, if you want to tune in, we can talk about mental health if you want to. It's up to you guys. Kind of keep it chill and laid back. And to all the people who have followed my journey now, I do want to thank you for all the times you've reached out, left comments, and anything you've done that has sent positivity my way. I do appreciate it. And I know a lot of you guys are going through similar things, and I'm always here to talk if you need someone to talk to. But yeah, I'm gonna hop on my PC, play some games, start doing some streams. I'm glad I'm making this video because I've wanted to for a long time, and that motivation just wasn't there. But I'm here now, and I'm gonna try to upload every day now. So, and yeah, the gaming stuff, I'm gonna probably start doing it real soon, in the next week or so. Play all different stuff, but mainly horror games, because that's what I'm into. All right, well, it's good to be back, and see you guys tomorrow.